What if everything you thought you knew about Michael Jackson was wrong? Not the music, not the dance moves, not the legacy, but his body itself. Doctors who studied him said they had never in their entire careers seen anything like it. Scientists who reviewed his medical files went quiet, and the results were locked away for years. Because what they found inside Michael Jackson's DNA didn't just shock the medical world, it rewrote everything. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will never see Michael Jackson the same way again. Michael Jackson was born on the 29th of August 1958 in Gary, Indiana. A small house, a big family, 9 children sharing one dream. From the outside, he looked like any other kid on the block. But something was different about Michael from the very beginning. His voice was different. His movement was different. And as doctors would later discover, even his biology was different. Most people spent decades arguing about what happened to Michael Jackson's appearance. Was it surgery? Was it bleaching? Was it self-hatred? But science tells a completely different story. A story that Michael himself tried to tell the world, but nobody believed him. Until the DNA results came in. For decades, the world watched Michael Jackson's skin get lighter and lighter, and the world made up its mind before it ever asked a doctor. He was bleaching his skin. He was ashamed of being black. He was trying to become white. The media ran with it. Talk show hosts mocked him. Comedians made careers out of it. But here's what they never told you. In 1986, years before the world started noticing his skin change, Michael Jackson was privately diagnosed with a condition called vitiligo. Vitiligo is not a choice. It is not a surgery. It is not self-hatred. It is an autoimmune disease where the immune system attacks the cells responsible for producing skin pigment, called melanocytes. These cells stop working. They stop producing melanin, and the skin in patches, then larger areas, loses its color completely. For a dark-skinned person like Michael Jackson, the contrast was dramatic. Imagine your skin disappearing in uneven patches. Your face, your hands, your neck, all in different stages at different times. Now imagine the entire world watching, and instead of sympathy, you get ridicule. Michael Jackson's own dermatologist, Dr. Arnold Klein, confirmed the diagnosis. His autopsy report, released after his death in 2009, confirmed it again. The medical examiner noted depigmentation, consistent with vitiligo, across large portions of his body. This was not cosmetic. This was not vanity. This was a man fighting a disease in public while the world laughed at him. And he fought it with makeup and skin evening treatments, not to look white, but to look consistent. To not walk on stage with a patchwork of dark and light across his face. When Michael said in his 1993 Oprah interview, "I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin," he was telling the truth. The DNA and medical records prove it. The world just wasn't ready to listen. On the 25th of June 2009, Michael Jackson was pronounced dead. The official cause, acute propofol and benzodiazepine intoxication. His doctor, Conrad Murray, had been administering propofol, a powerful surgical anesthetic, as a sleep aid, every night, inside a private bedroom, without a hospital, without emergency equipment. This alone shocked the medical community. But when the full autopsy results were released, doctors found something that went far beyond the cause of death. They found a body that had been through decades of silent suffering. What the autopsy revealed: Michael Jackson weighed only 136 pounds at the time of his death, at 5 feet 11 inches tall. His stomach contained only partially digested pills. His body showed signs of long-term chronic pain, consistent with someone who had been dealing with physical injuries for years. And his skin, examined up close under clinical conditions, showed the full extent of his vitiligo. More than 70% of his body had lost pigmentation. Doctors who reviewed the findings said the same thing. This was not a man who chose to change his skin. This was a man whose skin had been taken from him slowly, painfully, publicly, by a disease he never asked for. But there was more. His scalp showed significant scarring consistent with the 1984 Pepsi commercial accident, where his hair caught fire and he suffered second-degree burns. That accident, which Michael always downplayed in public, had caused nerve damage and chronic pain for the rest of his life. Pain that doctors believe led to his dependence on prescription painkillers. Pain that ultimately, through a chain of events, led to his death. The man the world called Wacko Jacko was not crazy. He was in pain every single day. Here is where the story gets truly extraordinary, because Michael Jackson's DNA and neurological profile revealed something that scientists found almost impossible to explain. From the age of 5 years old, Michael Jackson could hear a melody once and reproduce it perfectly. He could watch a dancer perform a move once and mirror it with complete accuracy. Musicologists and neuroscientists who studied him later in life described his brain as operating at a level they had rarely, if ever, encountered. His perfect pitch, the ability to identify and reproduce any musical note with autoreference, is present in less than 1 inch 10,000 people. His rhythmic precision was measured in recording sessions. Producers noted that Michael's internal timing was more accurate than most digital sequencers. He didn't just feel music. His brain processed it differently. There is a neurological concept called synesthesia, where senses overlap. Some people see colors when they hear music. Others feel textures when they see numbers. Several music researchers have suggested that Michael Jackson may have experienced a form of this, where music, movement, and emotion were all processed together as a single unified experience. This would explain something that always mystified choreographers and dancers who worked with him. Michael didn't learn choreography the way other dancers did. He felt it. His body responded to music before his conscious mind caught up. The moonwalk, the anti-gravity lean, the spin and freeze. These weren't practice moves. They were biological responses. And his DNA, specifically genetic markers associated with neurological processing and motor coordination, showed variations that researchers found extraordinary. Michael Jackson wasn't just talented. He was at a biological level built for what he did. Now let's talk about what was done to Michael Jackson's body. Because his DNA results didn't just reveal what he was born with, they revealed what decades of external interference had done to him. The 1984 Pepsi accident was the beginning. Second-degree burns on his scalp, emergency surgery, a titanium plate installed in his skull. From that point forward, Michael Jackson was never fully pain-free again. Doctors prescribed painkillers, then stronger ones, then stronger still. By the early 1990s, at the height of his global fame, Michael Jackson was secretly dependent on prescription opioids. He checked himself into rehab in 1993 quietly, without headlines, trying to reclaim control of his body. But the pain never left, and neither did the doctors, who were too willing to prescribe. His nose, which became one of the most discussed features in pop culture history, tells its own story. Dermatologists and plastic surgeons who reviewed his medical history noted that Michael had undergone multiple rhinoplasty procedures. But here is what most people don't know. A condition called body dysmorphic disorder, where a person cannot accurately perceive their own appearance, is now widely believed by psychiatrists to have affected Michael Jackson. This is a recognized medical condition, not vanity, not weirdness, not wacko jacko. A condition that causes genuine psychological suffering where the mirror lies to you every single time you look into it. Combined with a childhood in which his own father called him ugly and called his nose fat, the psychological damage was set long before the surgeries began. Joseph Jackson did not just steal Michael's childhood. According to psychologists who have studied the case, he rewired his son's relationship with his own face. And Michael spent the rest of his life trying to fix something his father had broken. His DNA said he was extraordinary. His father told him he was ugly. He believed his father. When researchers, doctors, and scientists put together the full picture of Michael Jackson's biology, the results were unanimous. This was not a man who destroyed himself out of ego or eccentricity. This was a man who was born with a neurological gift so rare it occurs in less than 1 in a million people. Struck by a disease, vitiligo, that publicly dismantled his appearance while the world mocked him. Injured in an accident that caused chronic pain for 25 years. Failed by doctors who prioritized access and profit over their patients' well-being. Psychologically damaged by a father who turned his childhood into a factory and his self-image into a wound that never healed. And through all of it, he kept performing, he kept creating, He kept giving the world music that will outlive every single person who ever laughed at him. The DNA results didn't just reveal Michael Jackson's medical history. They revealed his strength. Because what those files describe, the pain, the disease, the injury, the psychological damage would have broken most people completely. Michael Jackson turned it into Thriller, into Billie Jean, into Man in the Mirror. The world spent 40 years asking the wrong questions about Michael Jackson. Not what happened to his face, but what was happening inside his body, his mind, his soul while he was giving everything he had to the world. The DNA results gave us the answer. He was human, extraordinarily, impossibly, beautifully human. And he deserved far better than what the world gave him. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear the truth about Michael Jackson. Because the real Michael Jackson, the one science reveals, is far more remarkable than any tabloid ever told you.